Next panel, we're going to have some artificial intelligence conversation going on here. So, welcome everyone that is just joining us. My name is Celeste Carrasco. I'm Director of Public Affairs at AT&T. And I'm going to get things started by reading a little something. So bear with me. Hello. And welcome to our panel discussion on innovation, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. We are honored to have a group of talented and accomplished women here today to share their insights on these critical topics. With the ever-evolving technology landscape, it is more important than ever to explore the intersection of these fields and how they impact our society. So let's jump right in and explore the latest developments in the ever-evolving technology. I didn't write that. Artificial intelligence did. This morning, I decided, let me have a little help on my intro. So I gave it some cues as to what I needed, and this is what it gave me back. So this is what we're dealing with today. And we are gonna, if you guys don't mind, we're gonna bypass long introductions because I'm so passionate about this. I wanna know everything, and I happen to have really smart women sitting right next to. And look, we coordinated, white, black, you can't make that up. So I'm gonna start with Lily, who is sitting directly next to me. And can you set the conversation up, and let's just give a baseline as to what is artificial intelligence?
Yeah, happy to. And I'm just so excited to be here talking about this topic because, as you mentioned, this is really important for all of us moving forward. The development of AI is so fundamental. It's as fundamental as the creation of the microprocessor, the personal laptop, the internet, the mobile phone. And it's effectively going to really get industries to reorient exactly how they work. Businesses are going to be rethinking about how they distinguish themselves. And it's fundamentally going to change the way we live, we work, we communicate, all of it. So what is it? Artificial intelligence. So think about it as the field of computer science that's dedicated to solving cognitive problems. And these are all associated with human intelligence, right? So learning, pattern recognition, synthesis, and problem solving. It all involves the development of multiple, in some cases millions and billions of models and algorithms that's effectively taking data in, ingesting large amounts of data, structuring it, analyzing it, training it for correlations and patterns. And enabling people to make predictions and correlations moving forward, and being able to very quickly improve the performance within a fraction of the time it takes the human being. And this is actually applicable to natural language processing, to image recognition, obviously machine learning, robotics, a number of things. And if you're talking about generative AI, which a lot of people are talking about, case in point, it's actually going to produce new content, new ideas, chat responses. And these are going to be done in ways that are, I would say kind of guided or even unguided in some ways. So, to take a step back, I would say with any new disruptive technology, there's a lot of excitement, but there's also nervousness, and that's expected, and I think that's good, because I think that you need the tension to be able to ensure that you're building AI for positive value for society.
So that's incredible, first of all. I hope everybody in here is as excited as I am about this. So I have an 11-year-old daughter whom the other day I looked over and she quickly grabbed her phone and she tugged it towards her, and of course I'm freaking out. And I'm like, what's going on? And I'm digging in. So it turns out she's talking to an AI bot that it's impersonating being Sonic the Hedgehog person. I don't know exactly what it is. And I said, okay, ask questions, right? And she's like, that's not a smart question, Mom, you know. And I really wanted to know how far it would take it. And I said, ask it if it can help you with your homework. And he said, yeah, I'll help you. And I said, well, ask her about the Declaration of Independence. And I said, okay, let me pull up a pen and paper and let me tell you more about it. I was so impressed. So, you know, with that, I'm going to move over to Belen. What do you see, or how can we look at AI as we move forward, you know, as a practitioner of AI? What are your recommendations? What should people be looking for?
Well, good morning, everyone. I think I can respond this question from a practitioner perspective. I think there's definitely a lot of attention right now towards generative AI, especially given the launch of ChatGPT. And it's the first time I think that technology that it's not at a mature level has been exposed at the scale as this one has been to users overall in the world, right? So that's exciting, of course. That also raises a lot of concerns, and I think it's inviting us to be critical about how we're using it and how we're thinking about it. Now, saying that, I think there's more happening on the space where there's a lot of expectations around what's coming. Reinforcement learning, more generative AI, all the things around how to handle biases. And I think as we probably are going to be exposed to these technologies also earlier than before through different user interfaces. And as we go through that, I think thinking about trust, thinking about provenance, thinking about trustability, effectiveness of these tools is very important as we engage with them. Now, a practitioner always is navigating this balance between technical issues and business issues. So I think there's a couple of things that personally I'm seeing this year in particular affecting the way in which I navigate the world of AI and how we apply it to solve different business problems. From the technical perspective, definitely, there's new methodologies that we are leveraging. We're going to be using more generative AI tools, like all the code whispers aspect of, in order to help you code faster, in order to help you code in a better way. Certainly are going to be more leverage. But I think transfer learning is another thing that we're going to be using more. Also multimodal learning in order to learn from different types of data at the same time. Also all the aspects around the best practices on machine learning operations to make sure that you are using models that are working in a healthy way and to know exactly when you need to retrain them are things that are at the front line of when you're operating these. From the business perspective, I also see some factors that are impacting the way in which we operate. First of all, there's a larger urgency in order to focus on use cases that generate value for organizations. So the era or the time that you're given in order to experiment and iterate is kind of like reducing, but this is also impacting the way in which companies are doing strategies around AI and how their roadmaps are built and how we are prioritizing the use cases that we're going to be working on, because ROI is one of the main factors at this point that is deciding that. The other thing is, I think there's going to keep efforts in order to democratize AI across the organization. This means basically decentralizing access to this technology beyond the IT and the data science departments, if that's the way it has been organized. And you're going to see more other areas of a business like marketing, sales, manufacturing, and so on and so forth, also acquiring them, and also more people that don't necessarily have a tech background or know how to program. They are also going to be leveraging more low-code or non-code tools in order to take advantage of the technology. And the last thing that I'm seeing is that there's a lot of reflection around how to optimize the infrastructure that sustains the AI algorithms. Because, you know, they can really use a lot of power and a lot of energy. And I think that this is driven, on the one hand, by, in the short term, many companies are trying to adjust to the current market and economic conditions. But also, I think there's a longer-term vision in which companies are really trying to optimize these as a way to reduce their carbon footprint and have a lesser impact on the environment. So that's the entry point to sustainable AI, which I think it's also very important. And as I said, these are factors that are affecting the way in which we navigate AI as we apply it.
Tons of amazing things. I wish this was like 3.5 hours because I have a million questions. But you mentioned a few things, but now let's pivot to Atia. Your group is building, and I'm hoping I'm going to pronounce it correctly, Malena, the World Bank's first AI as a service. Can you share a little bit more, because I'm looking forward to using it.
Yeah, thank you, Celeste, and thank you very much. It's great to be here. It's super exciting to be on this particular panel. So I'm that person that Belen just described. I'm the business user sitting in one of those departments. And 3 years ago, I took a pitch to my director, which was like, we need to get ahead. Well, we're already behind, but we need to get ahead of this, and we have a real opportunity here. As a development finance institution, so I work for the International Finance Corporation. Our business is to lend money and invest in the private sector. Most of my time at IFC has been spent working with clients in the financial sector, helping them implement management systems. So what business did I have walking into my director's office saying, hey, there's this thing called AI, we should do more work around it. But she was convinced, and so we set off on a 3-year journey where we had to make some very strategic trade-offs. The 3 things that really helped us with our journey, and I think accelerated our adoption, first was connecting it to the business strategy. So you were not just innovating or experimenting for the sake of it. It was linked to our business as a financial institution. And it also gave us an opportunity to use data, to use our historical data in the same way in which we use our capital. So we had an opportunity to use data as an asset in a way that we had never thought of before. And what we did is we trained Malena, which stands for Machine Learning, Environment, Social, and Governance Analyst. Malena is an artificial intelligence. It's more technically a supervised machine learning algorithm. And we used IFC's internal historical environment, social, and corporate governance data, as well as impact data, to teach the algorithm to read technical text. And it's been a game changer for us internally. We've been able to reduce the amount of time my colleagues spend working on transactions to half a day. It used to go into weeks. When it came to reviewing, anyone who's had to sit down to an annual report or a bond prospectus knows that deadening feeling. So it's been really great to be able to give folks that time back so, they can do the things that humans do that humans can still do better than machines, which is think and find creative solutions to things that we haven't figured out as yet. So that has been very exciting. The other piece was adopting a different mindset, so arguing for a development finance institution that's not always known for speed. In fact, there are jokes about us being big bureaucracies, but actually adopting an innovation mindset, using innovation principles, using lean startup, using design thinking, using agile approaches to building products, working very closely with our users, and really iterating and building this solution using lessons that have already been learned by the software and technology development industries. And then the final piece was, I think, making an investment in data science. So we chose that strategy. I'd love to hear what you think. But the strategy that we chose was actually investing in in-house data science so our data scientists could work closely with subject matter experts and really build out the business case, sit in front of our clients, talk to your asset manager, sitting in an emerging market, understand the data constraints they're facing, and then work up the chain. So it's been wonderful. And as someone who's actually has degrees in economics and environmental policy, I want to tell everyone in the room that technology is really accessible. As you said, it's here. ChatGPT is already doing your daughter's homework. Where do we go from here? And it's possible, as someone who's not necessarily a technologist, to learn and understand and really take benefit.
Let me follow up with a quick question based on what you just shared with us. What was the cultural acceptance of this change? Because you said you started 3 years ago. Are you there yet culturally inside the organization with the acceptance rate, or has there been a little bit of friction because of the introduction of this technology?
I think in part that's why it's been 3 years, right? You don't do this overnight. You don't build solutions like this overnight. I think you've already heard about the importance of trust. We're going to talk a little bit about explainability, but I'll bring it up now. It's really important that your users understand it's a machine. Yeah. It's not a human. Your users understand how it makes decisions. Your users understand it's a prediction, it's a percentage out of 100. So users are able to, you have to demystify it for users in order to build trust. And then I think you have to be very transparent about what the algorithm can do and what it can't do. And then of course, explain how it's complementary to your human users. So this idea of a human in the loop. We're not making any the algorithm is not making any investment decisions. You'll always have a human doing that. It's giving you more time to make those decisions and really carefully evaluate those issues.
I love the complementary word. I think that we have to remember that one. Belen, do you see in addition to this cultural question that I just posed, in the diversity and inclusion space, what role does AI play?
I think when we're thinking about how do we advance objectives of diversity, inclusion, equity, and the role of AI, I think there's certainly a lot of expectations in terms of different sub-areas of AI that have potential given their technical performance on contributing to objectives like this. So for instance, image segmentation on the medical field, or activity recognition, or visual reasoning, or deepfake detection. I think those sub-areas of AI have a lot of potential, but we have to wait and see the technical performance. Now, I think there's a transversal area that has been raising importance in the last couple of years, which is responsible AI. And responsible AI, it's really trying to capture different aspects like trust, ethics, explainability, as you were saying. And I think this really matters. This is a transversal area, no matter which use case, no matter which sub-area of AI you start focusing on. This really has the potential of helping us reduce the number of biased AI solutions that we put out there. As we're discussing and seeing, right, there's more adoption at the business, at the government level of AI, and algorithms are also going through more scrutiny, right? So really making sure that you are able to explain the rationale of your decisions that are based on an algorithm, and that you can really guarantee that they are not discriminating against people based on their gender, age, occupation, sexual orientation, physical appearance. It's going to be more and more crucial. So responsible AI and all the practices around it can really help us. Now, I have to say that I think it's good that the research on this front has also been moving forward. And I think, some years ago, I was feeling that this conversation around biases was still anecdotal from some examples of how solutions were biased. But I was, as a practitioner, not necessarily having clarity on what technical procedures do I have to incorporate in the life cycle of developing and deploying a solution to make sure that they are not biased. And I think right now we are at a different moment where there's more clarity around what exactly do you need to do in order to make sure that the solutions are not biased. I'm happy to provide technical details if someone wants to discuss around that. But yeah, I think, in fact, in Data Robot, we took this very seriously. And this is why we decided that summarizing and simplifying the workflow of around bias and fairness was very important, and we have incorporated in our product as part of our automated tools.
That's great. So I guess, we're following an evolution. Lily, why don't you take the conversation home and talk to us about adoption? How do we get organizations to feel more comfortable about this? How do you upskill an existing workforce without, we don't want to fear that these new technology is going to completely eradicate the existing workforce. So why don't you share your thoughts on that?
Well, I think a lot also depends on where the company is at in its journey, right? I think there are certainly companies where, from the beginning, right, it's actually embedded from an infrastructure standpoint, team, culture standpoint, and then, at other companies, it might be more of a transformation from within, if you will. I think some of the key things as you think about the journey in AI for any organization, ultimately, as these ladies also mentioned, first comes back to strategy. What is the value that it's driving for the business? How is it mapping to your overall corporate strategy and also functional strategies? What's the economic value it's providing? What's the business value it's providing? Is it operational productivity? And really be thoughtful about that. The second thing is talent. So much comes back to talent as well. So really thinking about, the organization that you have and the potential skills gap and how you then therefore need to augment that, whether it's hiring directly, which we've done as well, bring folks in-house, because I think there's so much to gain when you have the hubs of data scientists and people, like cross-functional people working together to solve the problem. Infrastructure was mentioned as well. I think the combination of having, obviously, AI is driven by huge data sets. So you have to make sure you have the infrastructure to support that and have a culture that's also very data-driven as well. I've been in organizations where, you had to evolve and actually evolve the culture from running the business to kind of just being a more data-driven organization and being really embedded in every single thing you're thinking about. And then the last thing that I will mention is things are just moving at such a fast pace. And so, I think having key stakeholders and cross-functional efforts, really understanding the role of AI across the organization and how it needs to come together and continuing to innovate, work together, to really figure out where that's going for the organization.
We have a few minutes left. Let's do a golden nugget that we can impart upon our audience. So I requested ahead of time, so they probably went and looked it up on AI. Advice, recommendations, book, certifications and we'll start with you, Atiya.
I think I may have already given the nugget, which is don't be intimidated by technology if you don't have a background in it. And the reason I'm actually doing what I'm doing today is because I attended a conference like this one maybe 5 or 6 years ago and did hear that nugget. It was fancy management consultant who was talking to us and who said that everything you do, AI touches almost every single aspect of your life. The Uber you took to come here, the meal app you'll use to order lunch, the friends you'll meet later, all of that, right? So you need to understand how algorithms work and you need to understand how they impact your life. And he also reassured us that algorithms have been around for centuries, for much longer than all of us. So it's ancient knowledge. The big change is computing capacity and the amount of data we now have. But don't be intimidated. But it's really important that we all, don't be the ostrich. Don't hide your head in the sand. Learn about it and learn how algorithms work. That would be my nugget.
Don't be the ostrich. I love that. Belen?
I want to honor that we're in the Women Entrepreneurs Forum, and the message I want to leave with you all today is that we need more solutions that are designed by women and that are designed for women. And to do that, we need more women that understand and can handle and manage and lead in this technology. Only 22% of the women, of the AI professionals are women right now, so we need to bring more diversity into this space. 5 years ago, I was not a data scientist. I freaked out one day once my husband sent me the picture of a robot running around DC, and I decided to leave my job at the World Bank and take this seriously. I didn't want to fake it. I really want to study and understand how to program and how does machine learning and AI There's a lot of paths right now, as we have talked. There's more ways in which you can learn this. So make the jump. We need more diversity in this space. We need more perspectives so that we don't perpetuate biases and have skewed solutions in the market.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, and this is just the core philosophy of mine in life, which is be deeply curious. This is, again, a very fast-paced, evolving space, and I think there's so much to learn, and, just completely immerse yourself in it. And, in some ways, also think about, whether it's the career now or future careers. I think that the role of AI is going to create a lot of new opportunities and jobs as well. And so obviously we talked about data scientists today, however, like the role of prompt engineers as an example, is quickly emerging as well. So, I would say think about, like, deeply understand it and also really think about where it's going and opportunities moving forward.
Excellent. And with that, I want to thank you for being a part of this conversation. Thank you, ladies.